Okay, the Aboriginal Family Centre is a Aboriginal Head Start program funded by the Public Health Agency of Canada. They have been in operation for, I'm thinking, maybe 22 years, and we've been in operation for almost 21. So we were probably a year in getting the funding to start here. I think there's probably 130 or 140 sites nationally. And the Aboriginal Family Centre has been in operation, well, April, I think, 1997. So we've been around for quite some time. And we are a family resource type program where children attend with caregivers, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a parent. We've had aunts, uncles, neighbors, babysitters, grandparents, and parents attend with the child. It's one of the components would be parental involvement. So we do have that program that runs through the week, morning sessions and afternoon sessions, and we also have a school readiness program. So the children who attend, they turn 4, we get them ready for kindergarten. So they come on their own twice a week. That's another part of our program. And the 6 components of Aboriginal Head Start are health, nutrition, social support, school readiness, culture, and the other one is, can't think of the 6th one. That's terrible. There is 6 though. Maybe nutrition. I think it's nutrition. So we try very hard to cover all those areas in our program. The age groups are 0 to 6. I'm never quite sure why they included age 6. Maybe it's because if a child has any type of delay that's kept out of kindergarten, they're able to attend some type of program. So we don't have many 6-year-olds. Rare. Sometimes if there's a snow day and we're not closed, or there's a school holiday, they can attend a drop-in program. So we have included them. The overall aim is to get an Aboriginal child ready for kindergarten. We measure the success, I guess, not just by one thing. We measure it by a tool called the Brugance testing. So we do have some accountability to curriculum and learning. So that's definitely a success tool. We see the growth of the child that's done a test in the fall and in the spring. So that's definitely a test of our success. Another measure, I guess, would be our success in the outcomes. Come June, we're full. We have probably 45 children, 35 families. We have yet to ever spend money on advertising because of word of mouth, and we're a very popular program. So that would be a true measure for sure. Our local Head Start, we started off providing service to families, or I shouldn't say families, the child has to be Indigenous. So, one parent may be non-Indigenous and they can attend with the child, but the child has to be Indigenous. So because of the diversity of our community, we provide programs for Métis children who are now termed Southern Inuit and Innu. So even though Sheshatshiu is, a little ways away and they have their own Head Start in their own community, we do have Innu children in our community. So we are open to all 3 groups. Not all Head Starts have that need, but we recognize that need, so that's who we provide service for. I think tools like these questions I'm answering for you, or tools we have to use for an annual report, for example, they capture statistics and geographics and numbers, but it never seems to capture our daily program and the successes when it comes to families who come and go from here. We may have long-term families who start at the Healthy Baby Club, and then they come to the Aboriginal Family Centre and graduate the program. But while they're here, we see such progress because we have a lot of diversity. In the early years, we targeted at-risk families, hard-to-reach families. We really targeted these families, and that's who needs to be here. And that's still absolutely a need. And then a time came where there was space for families who may not have the issues that these families had. So we thought, maybe we can welcome these families in here who are not low income, or who are educated, or who come from 2-parent homes. Maybe we can open up spaces for these people. And we did, and it was probably the best thing we could have done, because all children learn from each other. All children learn from different socioeconomic families, and the parents certainly learn from each other. You know, we saw outside the box where, for example, you know, a professional parent could learn from a parenting skill from a non-educated parent, and that was all positive, and they learned to get along. And our social events, we saw progress in moms who came in our door the first week who you know may have had children in care or may have come from a broken home, and you know, in their time spent here, they gained trust and confidence in the staff. So, you know, they really bonded with us, and it seems like we get them in the door and we kind of can't get them to leave. So that is definitely a success and something that's not always measured in these tools. Maybe I could touch on the Healthy Baby Club, because the Healthy Baby Club didn't start with us when we first opened. So that was a program we launched probably 14 years ago. And in those first years, we serviced Aboriginal families only, or Aboriginal children. So the mom could have been non-Aboriginal or non-Indigenous, and as long as the unborn baby they could be part of the program. But we since changed that policy, and we could, because it wasn't an Aboriginal Head Start program, it was a provincial government program. Mm-hmm. So in the provincial government, you know, everybody is welcome from the community. So right now, our Healthy Baby Club, we have non-Indigenous participants, and that's very diverse because they're learning from each other. We may have a Filipino mom who are, you know, teaching maybe some of their culture, and we have maybe military families who are here, or non-Indigenous families who are here, and they learn from each other. They form friendships. Now the Healthy Baby Club has a moms and babies group where they can get together and do things together, which is great because these non-Indigenous families can't avail of our program, but they're still in our building, taking advantage of our services, and we're glad to have them. Right. So not only in the socioeconomic area of our family center, and I feel diversity is very important. Now we have another new level of diversity in cultures and Indigenous and non-Indigenous and international families and that type of thing. So it's diverse now in another level. Yes, the Public Health Agency funds our program, and we're sponsored by the Labrador Friendship Center. So we were given a budget, you know, 21 years ago, and that really hasn't changed in 21 years.
Wow.
Based on 40 children.
Wow. Yeah.
So we presently probably have 46 registered, probably 30 or 40 a month drop-in. So you're looking at 80 children maybe in a run of a month who come here. Our budget's based on 40 children, so we're very resourceful.
Yeah.
So that was based on the Aboriginal Family Center. You know, you come in for a regular program, then we incorporate a drop-in program, so this is more kids we see. We incorporate a dad's program, which in the early days, typically there was a lot of single mothers and dads weren't part of the picture, so we thought a dad's program would really enhance the relationship with dad and child. So that's another program we picked up. So we have a dad's program. We now have a Inuit cultural worker. And there's a big piece on culture. So we've expanded our program on minimal dollars.
Yeah.
So I always like to put that plug in there, you know, so these outcomes are fine and our program is successful, but, you know, we have some real life and everyday personal stories and stories that we can share with our families, and that don't always get captured. So we have a successful program. We have lots of programs. We have more programs than we started working on the same money. So.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And we try to meet the needs of the community and adjust our program as we go year to year. Indigenous education, I think, would probably be retention in some ways, valuing Indigenous language and culture and learnings and teachings. I think it's something that's being lost in the country and in the regions and in the communities. So I think it seems to be coming back in ways of programming and efforts put into programs like ours to bring back culture, to retain culture, to teach culture. We, as an organization with the Labrador Friendship Center, seem to be streamlining the word Indigenous. Over the years, we've always used Aboriginal. In the early years, I think the words Native were probably used, and I rarely hear that term anymore. We've used Aboriginal, and we've used the terms non-Aboriginal when referring to somebody who's not Aboriginal. But, you know, in a discussion in staff meetings, we've decided as a group with the Friendship Center, and our program is under the Friendship Center, to exchange our word Aboriginal to Indigenous. A vision I would have would be to enhance what's there and to create more. So right now, we've been lucky enough to have an Inuit cultural worker on staff for 14 years. And she incorporates Inuktitut language, cultural food, traditional ways, bringing in guest speakers, bringing in other people in the community who the children and the parents can learn from. I think that can only be enhanced. And we are enhancing it by applying on different grants for things like new drums, new snowshoes, new program materials, maybe per diems for people who can come in and spend days with us, or money for cultural advisors and honorariums, those type things. So I think what we have can be enhanced, but I really strongly believe that culture and Indigenous ways and languages needs to be incorporated into the school system. Outside of funding. Well, I think elders and cultural advisors, we had a cultural advisor long-term, Hewlett Clark his name was, and his grandchildren attended the program, and he was a cultural advisor here for probably 16 years, and he came twice a week for 16 years, all year long, and he provided cultural music. He attended our trainings and sessions and meetings and stuff as an elder. When we lost him from the program, it was a big loss for us. I mean, he's still in the community, but he's an older man, and he's not very well. So then we had a gap of, we couldn't think really outside the box, and it was hard to get people in. Mm-hmm. So now we are doing very well in that area with cultural advisors. So we need to find those resources and people. We have to learn from somebody, from somewhere, or things do get lost. So, and I think the elders and the cultural advisors feel so valued from programs like ours when they're I don't like to use the word used, but when they're involved. Yeah, that's a big resource for us, are the people.